Oh, my name is Dan Skibound, and this is my review of The Only Living Boy in New York. Now, this is actually the second film of the year directed by Mark Webb, and he also directed the film based on the poster behind me, Gifted. You may know him from his work on the Amazing Spider-Man films and also 500 Days of Summer. This time, he tells another little indie story, small story, similar to a couple of his other movies, 500 Days of Summer and Gifted, smaller films. But he's got a pretty good cast in this. But the star of the film is a young actor named Callum Turner, and he plays Thomas Webb. Now, Thomas is just kind of your average guy, graduated from college. He gets an apartment on the east side, lower east side of New York, and he's just kind of trying to find himself. He's got a girlfriend named Mimi, played by Kiersey Clemons, and he's always, there are these kids that they're all constantly trying to earn approval from their parents, and this is no different with Thomas. His parents, played by Ethan and Judith Webb, played by Pierce Brosnan and Cynthia Nixon, they're always constantly on him about what are you going to do with your life, where are you going, why are you living on the east side, why don't you live closer to home, this sort of stuff. Until one day a stranger moves in next door in his apartment building, and he ends up being kind of a wise mentor character, a wisdom. And he's the name of the character is W.B. Gerald, and he's played by Jeff Bridges. Now, Jeff Bridges also serves as like a narrator for this story, from the beginning of the story to the end of the story, kind of like the glue in a way that keeps this story going forward from character to character and story throughout the story. So he is a mentor character, but he's also the narrator in the film. And Jeff, of course, once you hear Jeff Bridges' dulcet tones, you know exactly, oh, it's Jeff Bridges, because he's the only one that talks like that. And it's always a comforting feeling knowing you got Jeff Bridges in there, and he kind of lends a little bit of I guess you would say gravitas to a film when you hear his voice or see him in the role. Now, Thomas is trying to just ask him about his girlfriend Mimi, or on again, off again. She wants to go to Czechoslovakia or Croatia or wherever, and he's trying to get some relationship from advice from W.B. Gerald, the neighbor next door. But he inadvertently comes across a date where his father, Ethan Webb, is actually on a date with another woman, and it's not his wife, and her name is Johanna, and she's played by Kate Beckinsale. Now, this is a huge surprise to Thomas, because he's like, well, he thought his parents were happy. Come to find out, his parents have been kind of on the outs with each other for a while. Even though they're staying married, they're actually staying married for him. They wanted to keep the relationship together for Thomas, so Thomas doesn't know that there's problems with this relationship, that Ethan Webb and Johanna have been in a relationship for quite a while now. And so what he ends up doing is confronting Johanna. And what happens is, I'm not going to give it away what happens, but they end up having some affairs of their own, some intimate affairs of their own, and this kind of blows up this whole story in a way. And Joanna basically breaks some news to Thomas about something else regarding his father, because of what he did to her, outing her as kind of like the lover of Ethan. She's like, well, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get you all fired up about something else, so you're not bothering me. But this story gradually unravels, and it is surprisingly, it's a short hour-and-a-half movie. It doesn't last very long, so the story goes by relatively quickly. There's really good performances by all the actors and everybody in the film, and of course Jeff Bridges, you can't go wrong with him. I just felt like I would have liked to have seen another actor in the lead role, maybe. I never seen this kid Callum Turner before. This is the first time I ever saw him in anything, so I don't really know him from anything. But it seems like to have a nobody in a role like this, maybe they should have cast somebody else. I don't know who they could have cast, but I would say the weak link in the story with Pierce Brosnan and Cynthia Nixon and Kate Beckinsale and Jeff Bridges and directed by Mark Webb is the actual lead actor. I didn't buy him in this role, doing the things that he was doing in this role, because I didn't know him from anything. I hadn't seen him before. Now, Kiersey Clemons, I had seen her in a few things, and she's got some things coming up in the future. So as the girlfriend Mimi, I bought her in that kind of role. You know, there's some comedy in here, but mostly this is a drama, and it's a slice of life kind of thing. It's just about this family in New York City and some of the things that have happened in their life. But I'm not going to give this a big see it. I'm going to give it a mild see it. I think there's enough here to enjoy. I just felt like when you have a movie with all these great actors in it, you should have had a better leading actor. And that's why I'm just going to say it's a mild see it for me. My name is Skip, and this has been my review of The Only Living Boy in New York from the Best Damn Movie Show. You can also find me. I do a show called The Top 5 Weekly. I'm doing a special classic series all month long, and also another series of videos that we're doing with my friends Steven and Andrew called the 52 Must-See Movies and Why They Matter. Also, before long, I'm going to get back to my podcast, The Best Damn Movie Show, with my co-host Vinny Zapata, hopefully sooner rather than later. So, good night.